I created an AI sales agent using n8n, and it helped me book a lead that eventually closed for 45K. The agent that I built researched the company, wrote the outreach, and got a reply. Now, in the past, I had to use companies like Clay, which costs hundreds of dollars a month. And the reality is that with something like Clay, I'm just renting someone else's agent when I could just build my own. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you an example of a workflow that you can use and further customize to help you book more meetings and close more deals. The best part is you can get rid of Clay and the manual research and have AI do the heavy lifting. So let's get into it. If you clicked on this video, you probably work in sales or something related to sales. Now, back in the day, you could get away with email blasts about your product and book sales meetings that turned into dollars. In today's world, templated email blasts have plagued inboxes and it goes straight to the trash folder. If you want to book meetings with cold outbound, you have to be personalized. In order to be personalized, you need to come up with a point of view on how your product or service can help your prospect. If you get a customized email just for you, you're more likely to read it and take action. So that part makes sense. If you send out personalized emails, you're more likely to get an opened email. However, as I started to put more effort into personalizing emails, it was taking almost 80% of my day. I wasn't able to scale to all the accounts that I wanted to get to, and I was burned out when I spent so much time on like 3 accounts that just never responded. Don't get me wrong, I think tools like Clay took a step in the right direction, but it's just not customizable enough and it's got quite the price tag along with it. That's when I realized Clay is really just a bunch of API calls and logic. So I decided to build it in n8n. So let's take a look at the first iteration of my workflow, the one that helped me book that meeting, and we'll see how we can build upon it to be able to customize this further for our own use cases. So right now we're in the n8n dashboard and we're taking a look at a high level of the workflow. As you can see here, it consists of 6 main steps. So from here, we're going to kick off with the workflow. Right now, I have it as manual trigger. Then we'll take a look at iterating through the prospects in whatever data source that we have. Afterwards, we'll do the AI agent research, feed it through there. We'll do the email draft and we'll look through the companies. And then finally, we'll send a completion email. So let's take a deeper dive into each of these sections. So right here, I've got a manual trigger to run the SDR agent. So this is really just a dev test environment. So I want to be able to decide when I want to run it. However, once we figured out the system that we want to continue at scale, we can have this run on a schedule, for example, 8 a.m. every morning. So that's our trigger workflow. We can also have it start based off like a Slack message or whatever. The trigger workflow is really up to you. From there, we go into our data resource where we'll pull the companies that we want to evaluate for that day. So in this situation, I'm pulling in from Google Sheets. We can take a look. I am connected with my Google Sheets credential. I am pulling from a list of the mid-market prospecting accounts, which I'll show you in a second. So as you can see here, I've got a Google Sheet with some mid-market accounts that I want to prospect into. So I've got the company name, I've got the URL, and I've got the target persona that I want to customize my email for. From here, we want the agent to be able to loop through everything on the sheet. I've got 3 for today's example, but imagine you have 100, right? So we can loop through all of these. Let's go back into n8n. So now that I've got my Google Sheet connected with the companies that I want to research into, you can see that I've got this loop over items node. So what's going to happen is that it's going to continuously loop through our research agent, complete the task for that first company, and then it's going to circle back after it's drafted the email and continue on with the rest of our companies. So in our situation, we've got 3 companies that it's going to loop until it's finished. And then we're going to, exit the loop. But that's what this loop over items node does. Now, effectively, what's going to happen is it's going to feed into the AI agent. So I'll show you that in a second. First, let's execute this sheet node to make sure that we're actually getting the companies into n8n. So I'll double click here. I'll hit execute step. And right here, you can see that I'll put it in the table format. And here you can see that it's reading all 3 companies. It's pulling in the company name, domain, and target persona. Perfect. So let's go into this next node. So here is where the magic happens, right? And how it works is I've attached a model to it. In this situation, we're using Anthropic or the Claude model, the Claude Sonnet 4.5. And then I've given this AI agent a prompt. So I'll go ahead and expand this. So I've opened up the prompt for our AI agent, and this is what's going to be fed into Claude Sonnet 4.5. So here you can see you are an SDR researcher and email specialist working for Gong. Here you can insert whatever company or service that you're selling. And in step 1, we're going to research the company. We're going to use the Tavily search tool. I'll exit out to that for a second. Here you can see the tool that I've attached. It's an HTTP request to Tavily. I'll show you that here in a second. But going back into the AI agent and into the prompt, we can see you're going to research the company that was fed to you. We're going to focus on company news and developments, product services that they offer, things like funding, partnerships, really any signal that we want to focus on. After we do the research on the company, we want to be able to relate it to the product or service that we sell. In this situation, we're pretending we're a sales rep at Gong. So we insert a few tidbits of what our company sells to give the AI agent some context. Next, it's going to generate a personalized email based on the company that we're targeting, as well as the company that we work at. It's going to generate that email and it's going to put that into JSON format. The reason that we want to put it in JSON format is so that we can easily structure it to be inserted into our email. You'll see that in a future step. So let's exit out here for a second. Now you see the prompt. The prompt that we just looked at will be fed into that Claude Sonnet 4.5 to be able to build out our email. Now, one important note is how are we doing that company research data? Well, there's a couple of ways to achieve this. The one that I found the easiest to use is a company called Tavily. So I've set up a custom HTTP request right here, but I'll show you that here real quick. So to be upfront, I'm not paid by Tavily. I was just doing some research and I found the responses to be quite good. And Tavily specifically has what's called a company research agent. So you can conduct in-depth company diligence and it's really easy to be able to set it up with an n8n and call it as a tool. You can basically put in the company name, the URL, and very minimal information. It can give that proper context that can be fed into Claude Sonnet 4.5 so it can build out a really strong email. So at this point, you've seen the magic elements. We've got the AI agent node with a strong prompt with context of the company that we're targeting, the company that we work at, and the product or service that we're selling. And then it's being told to build out a customized email. Now, after that, I can go ahead and run this, execute this step. I was pulling in the information for Together AI. And if I exit out here for a second, you can see that it's thinking intelligently. It's made the Tavily request. It's got the company research in here already. Now it's using Anthropic to summarize all that information together, craft an email that's customized for the prospect that we're targeting. So now let's take a look at the extract email fields node. Effectively, what our AI agent is going to be doing is building out that email and then putting it out into JSON so that this way, this node can extract the email subject, the email body, and then be able to feed that into Gmail to give us a customized email. And then after we've extracted the JSON data, we're going to put it into an email. It's going to loop across all three companies that we're working with. And once all three emails have been drafted, it should exit into this node and finally finish with a completion email. So it's going to send us an email saying, hey, all the companies that you were looking to research have been completed and your drafts have been completed. You can go ahead and send it to whoever you want. So now I want to show you an example of an email that it was able to generate, and it's going to be in my drafts email. Let's take a look. All right, as you can see here, I'm in my email drafts, and here we've got something saved for Together AI. So it's got a custom subject, scaling your AI sales team as fast as your inference platform. So based on the company research, it identified that Together AI is growing their sales team and it pulled in something specific to their brand, which is AI inference, right? Now let's take a look at the email body. So it's got hi, first name. You can plug in whoever you're targeting. Congratulations on the momentum. Become the go-to infrastructure for enterprises, blah, blah, blah. It's customized for what that company is doing. Now it's talking about how it's being able to capture the market opportunity. And then it talks about how our company can help AI infrastructure companies scale revenue and then giving a couple of bullet points on how it's possible to do that. So capturing competitive intelligence, evaluate against, the other competitors, replicating your best technical sales conversation. So it's really relating how our product relates to some of the issues and challenges that our prospect might face. That it goes into a call to action. Are you open to a 15-minute conversation next week? So within a matter of seconds, we've now customized our email for our prospect and what they may be interested in, and we've related it back to how our company will help that. Something like this would normally take me 30 minutes to an hour just to research and craft up an email. But now we can do this at scale for as many companies and prospects that we want to target in a matter of minutes just by putting it into a data source. So this email is out of the box really good and we can customize it further. But now let's take a look at the second example for Factory AI. In the subject, you see scaling software delivery at Factory AI. How's your go-to-market keeping pace? We've got a customized subject for something that Factory AI is facing, right? They're scaling their GTM team. So we're kicking it off. Hi, first name. I noticed Factory AI is helping engineering teams build software faster with AI. It's got that custom touch. We know what their business does. As your product development accelerates, how is your go-to-market engine keeping up? We're relating it to their pains that they're facing right now, being a fast growth company. Now we're relating it back to what we sell. Gong helps companies like yours ensure every customer conversation, demo, negotiation, etc., is captured, analyzed, and turned into actionable intelligence. So now we're relating what their problems are to what our company solves for. And then here we can see the value that we're bringing. So we're seeing teams increase win rates by 20% by understanding exactly which messaging resonates. Then we go into call to action like before. Is it worth a 15-minute conversation? But you're starting to see that now we're able to personalize at scale. We see that we know what factory AI does. We're relating it to what we sell, and then we go into call to action. For a sales rep, this was taking me almost an hour to do something like this, but now I've got it set up so that I can do this across all the prospects that I want to target. So that was a brief overview of this workflow. And keep in mind, this workflow can be further customized and built upon the foundations of your stack for some serious outbounding. And what I really learned building this workflow is that the market is trying to sell you agents, but really they're just selling you convenience. They're betting that you don't want to understand the system. But when you do understand the system, you really become the architect. That saves money, yes, but really it becomes business leverage. You can customize workflows for any use case, and that means bringing power into your own hands. If you stuck around this long, I seriously appreciate you watching this video. If you want to learn more about AI agents, and n8n, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.